Trump sent a deal maker to Iraq. What this really means for dinar. Welcome back to Global Currency Watch. Today, we're covering a story that has quietly captured the attention of investors, financial analysts, and Iraqi dinar holders around the world, because something changed this week. Not with a dramatic announcement, not with a surprise exchange rate adjustment, not with a headline saying the dinar has suddenly revalued. Instead, something potentially more important happened. A series of developments began aligning at the same time: political coordination, security stabilization, banking modernization, digital transformation, infrastructure investment, international engagement. And when all of those factors start moving together, serious investors pay attention. Now let me be clear right from the beginning. This is not a prediction video. This is not financial advice. And I am not here to give you a date or a rate. What I am here to do is help you understand what appears to be happening beneath the surface, and why many observers believe Iraq may be entering a new phase of execution rather than preparation. For years, the Iraqi dinar community has watched announcements come and go. Promises came, meetings happened, reports were published, but often nothing seemed to move afterward. That's why many long-term holders became skeptical. And honestly, that's understandable. But this week feels different for one simple reason. We're no longer looking at one isolated event. We're looking at multiple systems moving together. Think about it like building an airport. The runway alone doesn't matter. The control tower alone doesn't matter. The fuel systems alone don't matter. Everything has to come together at the same time before planes can start operating. That's what many analysts are watching in Iraq right now. The question is no longer, is Iraq planning reforms? The question is, has Iraq begun executing them? And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. By the end of this video, you'll understand why security reforms may matter more than exchange rate rumors. Why banking modernization could be one of the biggest stories of 2026. Why customs automation is attracting international attention. Why digital payments are transforming Iraq's economy. And why some analysts believe Iraq is moving toward a stage where structural execution becomes visible. So stay with me, because the final section may completely change how you view Iraq's financial future. Security and political alignment, the foundation of everything. Before any nation can achieve meaningful economic transformation, one thing must happen first. Stability. Investors don't invest billions into uncertainty. International banks don't expand operations into chaos. And global institutions don't deepen partnerships without confidence. That's why Iraq's recent security and political developments are receiving so much attention. Over the last several years, Iraq has been working to strengthen state authority, improve coordination among institutions, and create a more predictable operating environment. Why does this matter? Because economic reform requires trust. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper on unstable ground. No matter how beautiful the building looks, it won't last. The same principle applies to economies. Political stability creates confidence. Confidence attracts investment. Investment creates growth. Growth strengthens institutions. And stronger institutions support long-term financial modernization. One of the most important developments has been the ongoing effort to improve coordination between Baghdad and regional authorities. For years, disagreements created uncertainty. Today, while challenges still exist, cooperation appears to be improving. That's important because international investors value predictability. Predictability lowers risk. Lower risk attracts capital. And capital is the fuel that drives economic growth. At the same time, Iraq continues improving border security, anti-smuggling operations, and government oversight. These aren't exciting headlines, but they're exactly the type of developments international financial institutions look for. The truth is simple. Before any major economic transformation can succeed, the foundation must be secure. And many observers believe Iraq is continuing to strengthen that foundation. That's why security reforms may actually be more important than many of the headlines dominating social media, because without stability, everything else becomes much harder. Banking modernization, the phase everyone is watching. Now let's talk about what may be one of the most important developments in Iraq today. Banking modernization. For years, Iraq operated with a heavily cash-based economy. Millions of transactions happened outside the formal banking system. That created limitations. It reduced transparency, it slowed modernization, and it made integration with international financial systems more difficult. But that picture is changing. Iraq's banking sector has been undergoing gradual modernization efforts designed to improve efficiency, transparency, and accessibility. Many observers describe the current stage as a critical phase because it focuses on digital transformation, electronic payments, digital banking, modern compliance systems, improved transaction monitoring, financial inclusion. These may sound technical, but their impact is enormous. A modern economy requires modern banking. Think about how Americans use money today. Debit cards, mobile payments, online transfers, digital wallets, electronic commerce. Those systems create speed and transparency. Iraq is working towards similar capabilities. The expansion of digital payment systems is particularly important. Why? Because digital transactions create visibility. Visibility improves compliance. Compliance builds confidence. And confidence supports investment. International institutions consistently emphasize these goals. Transparency, accountability, financial modernization. These are not random buzzwords. They are the building blocks of a modern economy. This is why banking reform matters. Not because it creates immediate headlines, but because it creates long-term capacity. Many analysts believe the banking story may ultimately prove more important than the rumors that dominate online discussions, because sustainable economic growth requires modern financial infrastructure, and Iraq appears determined to continue building exactly that. Customs, digital transformation, and economic diversification. Now let's move to another area that's receiving increasing attention: customs modernization. For years, Iraq has relied heavily on oil revenues. Oil remains extremely important, but long-term economic strength requires diversification. That's where customs reform enters the picture. Modern customs systems improve revenue collection, reduce inefficiencies, increase transparency, and strengthen trade operations. Recent modernization efforts include expanded automation systems, digital tracking capabilities, and enhanced border management. These improvements may seem administrative, but their economic impact can be significant. Why? Because efficient customs systems help governments monitor trade more effectively. They improve revenue visibility, they reduce opportunities for corruption, and they create greater confidence among international partners. At the same time, Iraq continues expanding digital government services. Digital transformation is occurring across multiple sectors: financial services, government operations, trade management, infrastructure development. These initiatives are all connected. Together, they create an environment that supports modernization. Another major focus is economic diversification. For decades, oil has dominated Iraq's economy. Today, leaders increasingly discuss infrastructure, logistics, technology, energy development, manufacturing, and private sector growth. This matters because diversified economies are generally more resilient. They can better withstand external shocks. They create broader employment opportunities, and they attract a wider range of investment. When you combine customs modernization, digital transformation, infrastructure projects, and diversification efforts, a larger picture begins to emerge. It's not one reform, It's multiple reforms moving together, and that's exactly what has many observers paying close attention. The bigger picture, why the convergence matters. As we wrap up today's analysis, let's step back and look at the full picture. What makes this moment interesting isn't any single headline, it's the convergence, political coordination, security reforms, banking modernization, digital payment expansion, customs automation, infrastructure investment, economic diversification, international engagement. Individually, each development is important. Together, they become something much larger, a pattern. And patterns matter, because major transformations rarely happen through one event. They happen through accumulation. One system improves, then another, then another. Eventually those improvements begin reinforcing each other. That's what many analysts believe may be occurring in Iraq right now. Not an overnight transformation, not a sudden miracle, but a gradual shift from preparation toward execution. Now, does that guarantee any specific monetary outcome? No. Does it guarantee any particular timeline? Absolutely not. But it does suggest that structural modernization remains active. And for long-term observers, that's an important distinction. The story isn't about one announcement. It's about whether Iraq continues building the systems required for long-term economic integration. The evidence suggests those efforts are continuing. The banking sector continues evolving. Digital systems continue expanding. Infrastructure projects continue moving forward. International engagement remains active. And economic diversification remains a stated priority. That's why many serious analysts focus less on daily rumors and more on structural progress, because in the long run, sustainable outcomes are built on foundations, and foundations take time. If you've followed Iraq's journey for years, you already understand that patience is part of the process. The most important thing you can do is stay informed, stay objective, and focus on developments that can actually be verified, because clarity is an advantage. And in a space filled with speculation, clarity is often the most valuable asset of all. Thank you for watching Global Currency Watch. If you enjoyed this analysis, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others following Iraq's economic reforms. And remember, preparation beats speculation every single time. Until next time, stay informed and stay focused.